So today I'm with one of my housemates, and what I want to talk about is what goes on behind my back. Because a lot of the times when you come out as transgendered, there's so much behind the scenes work, people trying to process and understand what it means to be trans. So this roommate here has just been kind of an amazing representative almost when it comes to some acquaintances and people that visit our house. I mean, sometimes it's been you that has kind of explained my identity to other people. How has that gone?
It's been a good educational opportunity. I feel like I've had the privilege of sharing with people my experience that I've had getting to know Forrest.
My situation. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And so, what is it like? Is it pretty smooth? Like, do you ever get nervous telling other people that I'm a man?
Yeah. It changes from person to person. I feel like there's people that are a lot more open to understanding it and to quickly taking to the idea of transgender. I've been surprised how few people have known about what that really means prior to the conversation I've had with them, and using you as an example of how that's worked in your life.
Yeah.
So some people have taken to it really quickly and been really open to it, but there are some people too that just don't even have a background or an understanding for it and are kind of resistant to to know it or to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to switch the scenes.
Yeah.
You could be
Yeah, totally.
and then the scene could open up to a new scene.
That's good. I'm gonna do that.
It's been really helpful to have
Others
everyone directly around you. I mean, in the house that we live in, at least, making a conscious effort to change the pronoun, which does help influence changing how you think of that person in terms of what their gender is.
Yes. We're making pizza.
And it's a huge help to have the support and consistency of everyone doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's made that transition of your image, to us, a lot easier and more apparent.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting because, in some ways, what makes it different than pretending, or I guess I always think, I always worry, there's a little part of me that doesn't quite believe, just because people are using male pronouns, do they really see me as male? What is the real convincing thing that...
Well, I think it's a
Why do you believe me?
I think it's a slow process. In my head, there's definitely times still where I might think she first, because there is that pattern that is in me from a long time ago. And even though when I knew you 8 years ago, before you presented yourself as a transgendered person, I still thought of you as being really dudely, but I didn't know what it meant or what it meant to be transgendered. So this is something that it's been a slow transition for me to understand it and to say it on a regular basis. And there are still times or little parts of it that maybe she pops into my head first or I slip. And so it's a slow process of getting it right, but it's like a continuous effect. The more that we say he's doing this or this is what he's involved in, or his this or his that, or I have a friend and he needs this, it becomes more and more real every step of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that hole.
Whoa.
Look at the hole.
So what kind of conversations go on about the transgender identity, when I'm not around? Because you did mention that people are interested and people are curious and fascinated with this, so they do want to learn more. What do you talk about?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do have questions because it's something that people aren't really familiar with. And a big understanding that people are trying to grasp is, how is transgender different than being gay or bisexual? And some people try to lump it all together. And so people are trying to wrap their heads around the idea of so are you gay? Do you consider yourself gay? Would your partner consider themselves gay? And to try to separate that out has been interesting in terms of the questions you have to go through in the process to be no, sexual preference doesn't really have anything to do with it. It gets lumped sometimes because it's easier for maybe society to feel oh yeah, that's just in that lump of different stuff. But so to kind of try to tease that out has been really interesting, and to try to help people to understand that that sexual preference has very little to do with gender identity.
Man, that's so impressive that you have the grasp on that. It's just great.
I've had a fabulous teacher.
Yeah.
There are people that I've met or encountered that claim transgender identity, and sometimes I feel like it's not as valid as yours. I feel like it might be almost like a statement that they're trying to make, like, you know, that we are overly simplifying things and why are people one way or another.
You've really run into that, like, personally?
Fake
trans people.
I mean, who knows if they're fake or not, because I don't know anyone well enough.
Yeah.
But I have run into people that seem to claim it for reasons other than that they truly feel they're in the wrong body, but to claim it for reasons such as, like, me and my partner, who are both at least woman-bodied, like, are having a child, and we think it'd be more healthy if they had a dad and a mom, or you know, things that just don't seem as strong necessarily or legit as, like, I truly feel like I have the wrong body, this is not right, you know, or people that are just trying to break up the stereotypes of society and trying to show that not everyone fits into one category. And maybe that is a whole nother thing that I don't know about, the idea that maybe you honestly can't fit into one gender or another. Maybe there is, I mean,
there is something, you know, a gender queer identity, and that's within the spectrum of trans, and that's a very interesting field, and there's a lot of good videos about it.
Yeah, so I haven't been exposed maybe to that at such a personal level.
Right. Well, one thing I do want to say, and that I do want to wrap this up with, is takes a lot of courage to be that person, you know, that supporter, that ally, you on the side, being all straight and happy in your life, you know, just getting all lined up well, and you know, and really taking the time to learn more about this and to share it and talk about it with other people. It's just amazing, and thank goodness for people like you.
Thanks. It's been a good opportunity for me as well. I feel like I have a wealth of information that I wouldn't otherwise have.
Okay.
And I feel lucky to be able to share it with other people.
Awesome.